All right, welcome back everyone to the another episode of Kopitiam Council. We already touched on the recent happenings in Iran with the passing of its president and the upcoming elections. We also talked about subsidy rationalization announced by the Prime Minister Sri Anwar Ibrahim. So in a way, we'd like to zoom out and then zoom in and vice versa. So we're back here to Sabah. We're back home here to talk about one thing that we had a special episode on last week, which was a two-parter, which was the SLS's case, the Sabah Law Society's case against the federal government for Sabah's 40% revenue. So, if you'd like to know our thoughts on the case, you could go revisit the episode. It was a two-parter where we reviewed the idea. I was there at court, so you could get my first-hand accounts on what's happening, and then our thoughts on what would be the scenarios that would happen. And in a way, I think some of it, some of it came to fruition. Some of our predictions did happen, because on the just last Friday, at the time of this recording, on the 24th of May, case management decision just came out from the Court of Appeal, because the court decision was thought to be made on the 16th, but then they pushed it to the 24th for case management, which means that they're just going to announce what will happen with the case. So what was decided? A few plot twists actually leading up to it. So now we have a new date for the decision, which is going to be online, and that is going to happen within about 3 weeks on June the 18th for the decision on the Court of Appeals decision whether or not the Sabah Law Society can take the federal government to court on the 40%. So that was the update that we have. So mark your calendars for that, Sabahans. June 18th, but it's going to be online. I was kind of hoping that if it was a physical decision, then we might have to go back to court and then we would see more people showing up. But I think because the turnout was quite big earlier that morning on the day itself, on the 16th, I think they want to be a bit careful. If in the case something unfavorable happens, we don't want to see something big. But I like the energy, so why not, right? It would have been great to have happened there. But regardless, other plot twist that happened was that the Sabah legal representative at court at that day, who at the last minute, the Sabah state government filed as co-appellant to the federal government, and his representative Tengku Fuad, that was suddenly asked to drop. They were dropped by the state government in favor of another group of lawyers that will represent the Sabah state, and as well they withdrew the statements made. So basically, whatever happened on the Sabah state government side as representative in the court and Tengku Fuad's side was null and voided in a way. It was kind of just under the rug and say that, okay, let's pretend this never happened. Okay, let's pretend this didn't transpire here, because now the Sabah state government, just days after the court decision, after the 16th, the chief minister came out with a statement saying that they support the Sabah Law Society's initiatives, which is consistent with what he's been saying up for the past 2 years. So when the court had the what's happening, court co-appellant from Sabah State, it took everyone by surprise. So at least this is a bit of consistency here, that there might be different like within there may be like different things happening here. People might get different ideas. So that's what I think transpired here. So now we don't have Tengku Fuad representing Sabah anymore. It's a different group, and Sabah Law Society is welcoming the support by the chief minister and other politicians who have supported this, because even they were very surprised by what happened on the day itself. So, what do you think, Hafiz?
Yeah, I mean, it should be all along like how this what you told us. Like, so that Tengku Fuad bit is just a complete waste of time for everyone. Like they were supposed to do it in 16, and now we have another 18 of June, right? You
Mhm.
mentioned. So for the decision of the leave should be granted to Sabah Law Society or not. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be a big call from the court. I think it's very smart of them to do it just online, because seeing that how many people were attending during the time, and it could easily turn into something else, right? So like you mentioned, if it's going in favor of the masses. And what I'm going to say, I mean, there's no much development as well. since the last time we spoke. So basically, this is just shows how uh, should I use this word to describe the Sabah government incompetency of of all these people as a attorney general of Sabah, uh, even chief minister himself. He is a chief minister, should call the shot and make it very clear to all whoever, let's say, a group of lawyers that are representing what the statement that attorney general should publish. All of this should be very clear. And if you want to show support to SLS, there's so many ways as chief minister can show support of this. Like maybe just, for example, you know, make even better awareness for the Sabahans that what actually SLS is fighting for. So we have a lot of misunderstanding that this is at the time that Friday people thought that that's gonna be the decision of should Sabah accept should Sabah be receiving the 40% or not. But or then we turn out it's just organizing leave so they can pursue that. And yeah, now it's it's back to the on track again, and should the decision for the next month, June 18th of June, a good one, then I think we can move forward, especially in terms of public discourse. Like I'm sure SLS will be sharing a lot of facts to all of us, and then there will be more talks. I'm sure there's a lot of influencers on TikTok or YouTube. We're going to talk about this, and yeah, it's on the. I can see the clear benefit is the Sabahans, and yeah, Adi, that's it's not like that's the only thing that I'm hoping for. But it's the beginning of something good, a light in the end of the tunnel that we have been suffered for 48 years. So
Yeah, and I think one thing to point out is that, okay, that's like we mentioned in the last episode, saying that if, let's say, the decision is not in favor of the Sabah Law Society, like I said, it is the responsibility of the Sabah state government to pursue this. So in a way, after the embarrassment that happened on the 16th, this is a wake-up call to the state government, saying that you need to get your shit together. Basically, you need to collectively get your shit together, get organized, and find what is it that needs to be done here. Get back to basics, saying that okay, this needs to be done, this needs to be settled. So that is a wake up. I feel it's a wake up call for the Sabah state government. It's not the end of the world. If let's say it's not a favorable decision, but it's just maybe a minor setback on the road towards actualizing what is it that we really need for Sabah's development. But just another tangent here is that one of the what was I going to say? Damn, I forgot what I was going to say here. Regardless of the 40% here, right? What the Sabah state government, right, is coordination. Like I said, being organized, being coordinated, and they need to prepare for any kinds of unexpected results here. Whether it be the legal way or even the political way. But now that more people are talking about this, civil society in general has been talking about this, it is a great time to involve them as well, because let's say it is favorable, and then SLS does pursue it, and in the end, maybe 2-3 years down the line, we do get a 40%. How would that 40% be used for in terms of development? We still haven't gotten a formula. Masli Manjun still mentioned that they haven't come to an agreement on what consists of the 40%, whether it's net revenue or whether it's something else, right? If it's counted as something else. So there's still a lot of groundwork to be prepared for in support for the Sabah Law Society, because they are playing one battle, but there's more battles to come in setting up. So it's more like setting up the pieces to ensure that it's a smooth transition when it comes to financial responsibility and financial capacity. But what can be said here is that this delay, even though it might be a month after the hearing, after what happened on the 16th, it still gives a month for the federal government to prepare any kind of decision. We've mentioned the judiciary not being as independent as it should be, so this gives them a month to prepare, a month to do all kinds of meddling. And I dare say some of them might be laughing at us for making such a blunder, because this was not what happened. The debacle that happened wasn't because of the federal government, but it's more so the state government not having the right people involved here not having the right avenue or angle that they're taking. So I definitely think that the federal government is going to capitalize on this. They're going to find ways within this next few weeks to, position themselves or consolidate whatever they can, because I think we've already updated what's going to happen if this is the case here. But I'm just going to move on a tangent here. Is that throughout this Amba happening recently, our government has passed the JKDM here, which is a body that will oversee the welfare of the kampungs under the Madani government, which has drawn a lot of suspicion from the Sabah YB, saying that we already have JKNN, which is already another body that governs the welfare of a state body that governs the welfare of the villages, the kampungs, while suddenly the federal agency is being placed here. Doesn't that make it redundant? And it has not been discussed at the DUN, at the Legislative Assembly. It was suddenly it went through. So in a way, this paints a very strange message here, because we'd like to talk about our autonomy, we'd like to talk about our resilience against policies of a federal disposition. Now suddenly we have federal meddling with a core and integral part of our local government here. So this flew really under the radar, and most of the people that was talking about it was mostly just the YBs who had an issue, or saying that this is not really in working with the principles of the autonomy and federalism. Why is a federal body interfering here? Why are they sticking their nose in already established ideas? They can say, okay, federal can say that, oh, we need to be more organized here, but that is more of the state's prerogative, whether or not it is functioning or not. That is still the state's responsibility. So I would agree with some of Dato' Iwan saying that this is tampering with the delicate relationship between the federal and the state government, and the responsibilities of the state government to do what it needs to do, sort of like bypassing. And this is under the Kementerian KPLB, the development of rural zones, basically, which is headed by UMNO President Zahid Hamidi, Deputy Prime Minister. So we already know UMNO is not in the best position in Sabah. I think it just aligns very well here. I mean, a lot of coincidences here, which I think Federal masterfully played here. He gave us a big drama to focus on, while they pushed an agenda which didn't notice, so most didn't even expect. But what do you think of this?
Well, the fact that it was passed and very silently, and was come to surprise even to some of the MPs, it's a huge red flag, Adi. I think this is something that being done by, I think part of Madani government as well. Well, in the last episode, we just talked about like how Madani government doing some things, and this is a proof that we are not just blindly say good things to Madani, right? Because we call spade a spade. So if you done something wrong, and a law and regulation should be followed at all times. And if you're bulldozing a bill like this, it's certainly not gonna be no one gonna let it go. Even if you already pass it, so it's still going to be an issue, especially from the MP. And this is the MP also part of the Madani government. So even Benedict is also in the federal government, right? Like why he is in the sort of like surprise of this. So they're certainly moving beyond whatever his surface. So maybe even Benedict should be looking more tentatively towards what's like you so-called like the president of UMNO, maybe up into something that he shouldn't be aware of. So this kind of thing, and also like why IGG helping him as well. So this chief minister of Sabah wants to do that in maybe something in return for that. Maybe we're not gonna put a candidates in certain of your place, sort of a reward. We just speculating here, but this is very clearly something that should be done. And on top of all of this, what is the point of federal government wants to meddle in something very, very, like you said, the prerogative of Sabah state? Like this is literally the affairs for the Sabah state's government. Like there's no point for them unless they want to place their people and they want to redirect certain alignment. I'm just gonna stop at alignment there. So, I leave the rest. I leave to your imagination, to all the listeners' imagination. Like, what is the UMNO presidents is up to, and on top of that, I just want to say that before we move to the JKM issues, that this LS or whatnot, even if it was even on this June, it will not be granted. I think any NGO, other NGO, should come up again and challenge at the court, so that it's ongoing. So yes, SLS is done. Next, someone else, because I think, as we know, Sabah state government there's always gonna be like a statement of, yes, we are reviewing with the federal government, we are actually in discussion, whatnot. But if there's no transparency, it's not gonna move things. So I think this is key in anything. So we do after this, beyond June, it's gonna be involving a lot of transparency. And if there's no transparency, I don't think progress will be made for real. Like I mentioned in the last episode, like how Sabah state government should be announcing for the next 3 or 6 months what they will do, and then update the people with what they're gonna do. That would be a good start. I want to reinstate that once again. Please, this is 2024. Information is no longer, keeping to yourself. Keeping information is no longer a good game to play. It will only backfire to the state government, and hopefully state government will do something in the right direction, so that because Adi, this is only the beginning of the beginning to granting a leave to pursue this issue. We have a longer way to actually says that yes, we finally rest our case and get 40% of that what stated in the constitution. So that's my piece.
Yeah, I mean, just because the federal government isn't really transparent with us on this JKDM thing doesn't mean that the Sabah state government shouldn't be transparent on what's happening. I think what is great is that if to regain public confidence, is the Sabah state government should be more proactive in releasing statements or press releases. They don't have to reveal everything about the ongoings of the case, but just like the 6 out of the 7, the other 27 demands that were stated by Tommy, is a great way to just highlight, say, okay, this is what we've been achieved. We already have achieved 6, so then we keep seeing what else we can achieve. Keep updating the public on what is going on, or even update. Like, I know the formula thing has been floating around here and there, but it seems to be discussed quite openly among groups of circles of people who do know. So this should also be part of public conversation as well, or even among the administrators, the political leaders as well, should be talking about what this formulation should be. We should be more interactive and more engaging with each other, since because now that with this JKDM, the Madani Village Community Thing initiative, right? That already kind of sours a few things for the GRS components here, because they claim that because it's not deliberated in the Dewan Undangan Negeri, so they feel that this is just being pushed on at the expense of the cohesion of the government. And I suspect to think, because UMNO is very defensive on this, right? They're the ones that are being the main, the defenders of this policy. It leads me to believe that because the JKKK, which was already the Sabah, the state agency, that most of it is now consisting of GRS members, right? They want to set up for the UMNO members as well. Like you said, they're trying to realign, basically put back alignment, put people a bit more, make people more relevant again, in the grassroots kind of way, gearing up for elections. But this compromises the stability of the state government and the state government's ability to hold back federal aspirations, because we don't want to go for another period where the federal government exerts its influence over Sabah, in the divide and conquer way that they used to, or even the colonial way that they used to. No, I think those days Sabahans have to be very stalwart and very staunch in defending Sabah's own prerogatives and what we have been promised when it comes to local governance. So that is one thing that we have to be very, not just the SLS, because that one we can wait, right? We have to wait to see that's a legal battle that happens behind in the courtrooms, but this is something that happens in the public space. This is a policy, and policy is something that is very policy is something that is of concern to everyone involved here. So we need to also be diligent in calling it out as well. Like you said, we praised the government in the federal government in the last episode, but we have to call it out as well, because it's beneficial for what they said at the last episode, but this is not, I believe, not beneficial. They talk about saying that it's a shame that this is being opposed, because because we think that the communities and kampungs would benefit from the huge allocation of funds. Why don't you allocate that from KPLB into the JKKKs, the already established committees? Why do we have to go through a federal body here, right? So, and then if that's the case, right, the state bodies, how would they get their funding from? It kind of confuses like the structure. Already there's a structure in place. Let's not try to upset it. Just make it simple. If you want to allocate, yes, thank you, you can allocate it to the JKKK. If you don't want to allocate, fine, that's up to you, right? But don't go setting up your own people and then allocating there, because it sends the wrong message and it sends the wrong signals. Like I think a lot of Sabahans are wising up to the federal government's playbook here, the Barisan National playbook that was happening throughout the last 60 years and before that as well. So I think we are aware already of what's going on.
Indeed, yes, we are aware of this, and because a lot of keep talking as well about it. And if you are listening to this, yes, keep talking to your peers, to your family and friends, because especially Sabahan, if you care about your state, this is one of the way to show that you care. I think it's suffice to say that transparency is one of the biggest problem in Sabah. So let's start with transparency. I think a good progress will be there. So that's it for this episode. Of course, there will be more SLS updates after we have the court decisions on next month. So that's stay tuned for that. And as always, if you are listening to this on YouTube, hi, and Spotify, please consider commenting on what are the topics that you would like to listen from us in the next episode. And if you are in favor of short content, you can always visit us on Instagram and also TikTok. Adi, any last word?
Yeah, I just want to say, if you all like the live episode that we did in the studio, be ready for that, because we will be meeting each other. I'm going to KL, going to see Haffisz, and we're going to do the same thing that we did last time when I was in KL, which is we're going to be finally in front of cameras, just me and him, and between each other in real life instead of being online. So stay tuned for that, because we're going to have quite an interesting discussion with a surprise as well. A few surprises that's going to come up with that. So we're very excited to have that, and I hope you all are too. So stay tuned for that.
Yes, there will be a guest, which is a secret for now. So in order for you to know that, again, follow us on our social, so that will not be left out if we posted another episode, a new episode. So with that, goodbye for now.